Being born a twin meant that the fate of Lucy Cheptoek was sealed. For her twin brother to successfully fulfill the cultural requirement and undergo male circumcision, she too had to be cut. These marks on her hands are a painful reminder of the pain inflicted on her when she underwent female genital cutting. FGM is a centuries-old tradition practiced by the Sabine inhabitants of the Elgon region. Undergoing FGM has left Lucy with physical and psychological trauma. To compound her problems, Lucy's husband married a second wife, claiming that living with her denied him the chance to fully enjoy his conjugal rights. Despite these setbacks, support from ActionAid has turned Lucy into a fierce critique of FGM. For Chorotich Selina, circumcision was supposed to be a period of merrymaking and non-stop partying, but it turned tragic when one of the girls in her group died during the process of being cut. Anna Chemisto cut girls for over 20 years as this became her main source of livelihood. However, following widespread sensitization from ActionAid and the REACH program, she decided to abandon the practice. Government has supported some former cutters with income-generating activities, but most like Anna are still waiting for support. Benechebet survived FGM by a whisker, but her three elder sisters were not so lucky. By the time she came of age, her parents had become born again and valued education of a girl child. Jane Francis Kuka, the former RDC of Kapchorwa district, is a decorated anti-FGM icon. She has been fighting this practice all her life, something that has turned her into a poster lady against FGM.
I grew up knowing FGM when I was only about 10 years old. From that time, I started struggling to make sure that FGM, I do not go through FGM. So I started fighting FGM from that time. Those days, it was a taboo. The government was not concerned about FGM, so people were cut left and right. So I was lucky that I grew up from a home where my mother advised me, and then he told me that my daughter just take education, and for sure I took her advice, and that is how I managed to escape.
ActionAid has been working with Mrs. Francis Cooker to champion the fight against FGM so that the girls live a fulfilling life where their rights are respected.
Even now as I speak, advocacy is still on for FGM. I cannot leave it because I don't want the girls to go through that cutting, that FGM. It is harmful, first of all. Though the pain is there, but it's harmful and dangerous to their lives.
ActionAid has carried out various interventions, including engaging with several stakeholders like district leaders, cultural leaders, and religious leaders to combat the impacts of female genital cutting.
With the funding from UNFPA, ActionAid has been able to implement a number of activities in the Sebei region. ActionAid has been in position to support 16 community dialogues where we are campaigning against FGM as we popularize alternative rites of passage. That is in Kapchorwa, in Kwen, in Buko. ActionAid has also been able to support 4 review meetings. One was centralized, the other ones were decentralized. ActionAid has been able to support about 15 radio talk shows where stakeholders go to the radio, survivors, the victims of FGM, go and share their testimonies on how FGM is actually very bad for the communities of Kapchorwa, Sebei as a region. We have been able to conduct cross-generational dialogues, 12 of them in different locations in the districts I'm talking about. We have been able to conduct, initially when we started inception meetings, all the districts, 3 of them, providing information on how much money we are planning to use as we implement the different activities. But above all, we're also trying to seek the participation, the role of the stakeholders in this region in the campaign.
Working closely with district leaders to carry out sensitization campaigns has generated a great momentum in the fight against female genital cutting, which needs to be sustained.
We have been networking with other partners also, who have like AAIU, Uganda, and then we have also even ActionAid and many others which have taken lead, like UNICEF, who have taken lead in the anti-FGM programs. And some of them encourage a lot on co-funding, that we must have also a budgetary line to take care of some of these things. And our budgetary line is the one I've said is inbuilt in various budgets of various sectors, like health, like education, so that when they come, it also gets quantified.
I have done a lot of sensitizations, mobilization, sensitization, awareness created. We have done a lot of community dialogues. We have engaged the youth, we have engaged the women, we have engaged the elders, the opinion leaders, the religious leaders. Everyone actually has been reached with the messages. So the few isolated pockets who are still practicing the FGM is what I'm saying we just need to accelerate. We just need to accelerate our interventions in the way of helping them come out of that primitive backgrounds and probably understand. Of course, government has done also a lot in terms of providing social services, including schools. We have a girls' school, secondary school, specifically targeting those communities practicing FGM.
This is a workshop that has been organized by ActionAid, targeting religious and cultural leaders to propose activities that can be promoted to mark the passage of girls into womanhood to replace FGM.
FGM really, it involved a lot of celebrations. It was celebrative actually. And now that to replace those celebrations of FGM, we are now looking at alternative passage of right, that what do we do with our girls? And essentially we have agreed that These girls really, we must look for a day, and we have agreed 15th December of every year. This is a day where our girls develop an identity. They put on a dress, a kind of gown, which we are going to design. And then eventually now, they put on that dress, and then we come here officially, the district, all the stakeholders. Then we now sanction these girls now that they are mature and they are going out.
Right now, the church is taking a serious note by sensitizing and preaching the crusade, going for conferences, trying to tell the girl child that circumcision is not right. And even in the Bible, the circumcision was not meant for girls. It was only for boys.
By putting cultural leaders and religious leaders at the forefront in the fight against FGM, the battle could finally be won.
When these people were talking to our people, they involved money. They told those who were cutting that you people, we shall be paying you. Whatever benefits you are getting from there, we are going to pay you. And then the girls also, we shall take you to school. They introduced some schools, but those programs failed. So people are trying to go back so that these people can come back with the money. But otherwise, we are tired of that thing.
We are here to end the FGM. By the time we go to the ground, we want to see that there are no cases of continued FGM. Of course, you hear at community level, when politicians promise communities that we are going to do A, B, C, D, community members think they want to retaliate by going back into FGM. But in our work, we are letting communities to know they are not just retaliating either to government or to other leaders. That retaliation goes back to communities, and therefore they need to appreciate. Once they choose to move away from FGM, it should be a one-off thing. They should not go back to FGM.
Fighting against female genital mutilation has called for a change in approach. ActionAid hopes to spearhead the fight against this outdated cultural practice by engaging all stakeholders to come up with a concrete way forward.
There must be some things community members do at home which keep away girls from FGM. Because FGM is a human rights violation. There is already a law, government has put a law in place, and even at community level, people are not looking at that to be helping. So what is going to help is the approach we are using. Bottom-up approach, consultative meetings, agreeing on certain things, and making follow-up, and ensuring that everyone implements what communities have agreed.